Hi, it's Sean. You know me from the Commander's Brew. We're that show where we tell a lot of jokes, we have a lot of fun, we brew weird off-the-wall decks on a budget of about $100. And this week is no exception, but we have something special this week. We've got a new house rule we're experimenting with, and we can't wait to see what you think about it. Let's see.
We're working with a new house rule? Is that right?
Yes. Rule 0, Commander, you're allowed to do whatever you want, as long as the table agrees. And we've toyed with this idea before. We've talked about it. Yeah. But it's the idea inspired by Commander Legends, because they give us so many monocolored legendaries that had partner. The options, it was a creativity smorgasbord. So we decided to try it out and actually take it outside of the Commander Legends and say, well, what if all monocolored legendaries had partner, what could we do with the Kaldheim legendaries? There's a lot of monocolored Kaldheim legendaries, and we're like, I think we could probably pull something neat together. The asterisk is that this is done for the spirit of creativity and fun. This is not to just take an already powerful deck and just make it more powerful. And for that reason, the house rule says you're not allowed to put two monocolored legendaries of the same color together. Otherwise, you're just putting an extra card in your opening hand every time. Right? Yeah. That's not fair. We'll discuss the viability and how broken this is. Some very interesting discoveries happened going through this process. But let's not bury the lead any further. Let's tell you which two commanders we are brewing around this week with the house-ruled mono legendaries. First up, Orvar the All-Form. 3 and a blue, legendary shapeshifter, changeling, 3/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if it targets one or more permanents you control, you make a token copy of one of those permanents that were just targeted. Also, if you have to discard and you discard Orvar, you get a free copy of anything on the board, but that will probably never happen. There's a because it's not, Orvar will rarely be in your hand. Yeah. It's our commander. So who are we going to partner this monocolored legendary with? We're going to try out Birgi, God of Storytelling. 2 and a red, legendary creature god, 3/3. Whenever you cast a spell, add red. It doesn't leave your mana pool as steps and phases end until the end of your turn. And creatures you control can boast twice. That doesn't matter because we have no boast. Also, you can cast Birgi on the back as Harnfell Horn of Bounty, 4 and a red legendary artifact, and this is the one we'll probably do most often. Discard a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. So those are the partners. We looked at Birgi by herself, and Birgi kind of wants us to go kind of storm, but mono red storm, you're just lacking like the card draw, the storm targets. Like, it's tough to do a lot with. And Orvar, we thought at first glance, although spoiler alert, Orvar's extremely powerful by themselves in a mono blue deck. Like, you can do a ton of crazy stuff, but adding some red, adding some targeted spells, we also now have access to red things to copy, which gets pretty interesting. I think this is a super fun brew, and I don't think it's of the broken power level. We'll get to that in a bit. So, obviously, we're half in setting the scene, we're half in the vegetables, but like we've got plenty of creatures we want to copy, like, for example, Seagate Oracle, 2 and a blue, 1/3 wizard, human wizard. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 2 cards of your library. 1 goes in your hand, 1 goes on the bottom of the library. Every time we want to target Seagate Oracle, we get another best of 2 draw. We get to draw our favorite of the top 2. And the things we're going to be using to targeting there's plenty of instances like Cerulean Wisps. It's a single blue, target creature becomes blue, untap it, draw a card. It doesn't do much on its own. It draws us a card, it cantrips if we need to, but it does give us another copy of something that's already on the board. And if Birgi's out on the Birgi side, we can get an extra red mana. So we've netted 0, like the net cost has been 0 mana. We turned a blue into a red, but we're up a card. We've not spent, we're even on cards, we're even on mana. So like these kinds of effects really work well. And in addition to those, we're also running some unsummon effects, which is a single blue, return target creature to its owner's hand. These are other great ways to copy our own creatures. So we'll get a token copy. The original will come back to our hand. They mostly have ETBs, so we'll get to ETB them again later. This we can do to save our creatures from removal. And in a pinch, we can remove opponents' creatures if we have to for some reason, if they're really giving us a hard time. So that's the scene that we're going to set. So let's get into some vegetables. Andy, tell us what are some neat veggies that are good to copy.
This is quickly becoming one of my like favorite, like often reprinted, like low rarity card in Commander. It's Meteor Golem, 7 mana for the 7 generic mana for the artifact creature Golem. It's a 3/3, and when it enters the battlefield, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. It's one of my favorites because despite the 7 mana like price tag on this thing, there's so many ways to have it enter the battlefield that isn't that, or something like in this deck where, yeah, you might pay the 7, but then the benefits will keep coming, right? We keep like making copies of this. You know, once you made that first one, I mean, that's very worth it just alone right there. You know, the 7 mana plus a 1 for like an unsummon or something like that, or you know, something like Cerulean Wisps or whatever. So yeah, Meteor Golem, a lot of upside. Great in these color pairs, in this color pair too, and that like we're talking about, is it so tough dealing with things like enchantments and things like that, and maybe like a pesky planeswalker or something. So like Meteor Golem deals with those things nicely. That's really good. Scholar of Ages, incredible card. 5 blue, 3, another 3/3 for 7 here. But this is a human wizard. When it enters the battlefield, you return up to 2 target instant and or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand, which feels like with Birgi, I feel like you could really go, you could like, if you had like a mana filter or something, like you could go infinite with some cards this way, couldn't you?
Well, I don't know about infinite. I have to think about that. But the key is the 2 instants, right? A lot of people are thinking about Archaeomancer and Mnemonic Wall, but the trap of those is if you use Cerulean Wisps on Archaeomancer, you get back Cerulean Wisps to use on Archaeomancer to get back Cerulean Wisp. You're not doing anything. You're just looping that over and over and over. Birgi's paying us back in red mana, but Scholar of the Ages is kind of the key to get us like, so one of those is going to go to Scholar of the Ages, and the other instant or sorcery we're going to do other things with. That's why Scholar is so much more important than those other ones. As far as going infinite, I don't know if we have a way to get free spells.
Like Impact Tremors or something, right? Like making infinite creatures that way. Right.
I mean, we still will run out of resources. It costs us mana to do it. We can't do it for free.
Well, if it's a 1 mana cantrip.
Oh yeah, and then
you need a filter though. You need a filter because you need to change the red into blue. I guess if you do it with a red spell,
you'd have to have 2. You'd have to have 2. You're right. You'd have to have Birgi out, and you'd have to have 2 because when the first one goes on the stack, you will copy the Archaeomancer type of effect.
Right.
And you'll need to target a spell in your graveyard. And the one on the stack is not yet in the graveyard.
Ah, right.
So, but if you have 2 and they exist in the deck, you know what? You're right. You could go infinite that way. I've not built the deck to do that.
It's like a 4 to 5 card combo, so it's not like it's some overpowered thing, which I like though. Those are the kind of combos I like.
Well, and this is the thing too, right? So it's like you might argue it's like, well, we've added red. So now we've broken it. We've broken Orvar. We've created an infinite combo. It's like, listen, there's already infinite combos in here.
Yeah.
We're going to get to a few of them, or at least one of them. So, but like, it's not broken.
No, that's not broken.
Is it more powerful? Yes. But I believe it's so much more creative and there's so many new directions. I'm excited.
If there's anyone calling your combo where you need to have both of your commanders out, the 7 mana creature plus an artifact that filter or something that filters your mana plus another 2 other cards. That's maybe you could cut that down to by 1 more and make that a 5-card combo. That's potentially a 6-card combo. Like, there's nothing broken about that. If you assemble a 6-card combo, you deserve to win. Congratulations.
Yes.
If I wasn't there to stop it, absolutely go do it. If I didn't know to stop it, go for it.
We're also going to run like Spark Double, right? Spark Double enters as a copy of any creature or planeswalker we control, but it's not legendary, and it's got a +1/+1. This is a way to get an extra Birgi and start profiting mana, or it's a way to get a second Orvar and start doubling our copies. It's our own doubling season once we get this going.
Oh, and you could do it to the Spark Double so that you make even more Orvars because they wouldn't be legendary at that point. That's cool.
Right, but we're still in the Archaeomancer problem, though. I did have that dream, too, but it's like, ooh, Cerulean Wisp will copy an Orvar, which gives me 2 more Orvars. And then I'll do another spell on the Orvar, and now I have 8 Orvars. It's like, yes, but at what point are you going to do something besides making more Orvars?
Well, Orvar's a 3/3. I mean, you're making a lot of 3/3s,
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You're like exponentially making 3/3s. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I mean, precursor golems in the deck, that just works way faster.
Ooh, wow, okay. I love it.
Yeah. And then, you know what? Quasiduplicate is a way to get... It targets one of our creatures. That's why this is my favorite clone effect, because it targets, which Orvar cares about. A lot of clones don't target, so Orvar would never copy them. This one targets, so we copy... It also goes to the graveyard, and we get to recast it from the graveyard, so we get a second copy of something as long as Orvar is around. A very effective spell.
It's funny because we talked about this deck before recording last week too, and I knew we were doing this because we talked about what a fun idea this would be, and then just so happened that Orvar ended up being really good in that Vega deck also. So like there is some overlap between these two decks. It's kind of funny. I didn't anticipate that. Like I kind of forgot about it when I was brewing my deck, but it is different. You've got like there's different aims going on here, but the reasons you're saying Quasiduplicate are good. I'm just recognizing that's why they were good in that Vega deck also.
Well, okay, and up to this point, I've only talked about blue cards.
Yes.
Right? I've not introduced any red cards. We can find sort of similar 1-mana cantripy things, but those are a dime a dozen. We're not breaking it by adding the red ones of those. But so far, this is all contained in blue. So we've not introduced anything that kind of breaks Orvar or goes outside of like what seems fair. And I want you, for those of you who listened to last week's episode, keep in mind, remember Andy's white-blue Vega list. Imagine that list if we did Orvar and a mono-white partner as the commanders instead of Vega. You'd shift a few things, or the deck would become something new, but it would be similar to this deck. But as we get to the next section into a certain kind of moves, I'm going to highlight a lot more red cards, and we'll see the specific flavor that red brings this. And I think we will all come to the same conclusion that there would be 4 different Orvar decks with different backup colors.
Yeah.
And they all have different flavors and styles, and they're all uniquely fun. And I think that is only good for this house rule.
This house rule is incredible. I
think so.
I just want to say, I think it's like I had the original... I meant to say this before, that's why I'm going to say it now, but I had the original idea of like, to mitigate this, maybe we only allow the non-partner original mono-colored legendaries to partner with like officially partner things, right? So that way we definitely are not going to get some kind of ultimately like super broken thing, because it's always going to be pairing with some partner. Yes, there still may be some very broken partnerships there, but the partner commanders, as we know, are generally, they're kind of medium power on purpose because of that. But seeing this combo and just like the other possibilities, I think it's just fun to just do it this way. Like if you feel like maybe your group or something can't wouldn't be able to handle it, and you want to do that like partner, like that mitigated partner version, I think that's fine to do as well. But like I don't know, I suggest that people do this. I think it's really good. I think it's really cool.
I do too. I do too. And like it's just for creativity. You'll know if you're using this to be like, ooh, if I put these two together, that's an infinite win in the command zone.
Yeah.
And no one can stop me. It's like, well, guess what? That's not the spirit of this. So good for you. Great.
And I think those
I can't
players are probably not going to do this anyways, because they're not like that spiky mentality isn't something I think that would ever do something with Rule 0 anyways. Like it feels like the like that spiky take on Commander, which is totally fine. You're not going to be like, hey, can I play this illegal deck, whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're not even going to do that in the first place. So like maybe that just never comes up. Who knows?
I mean, this has been a fun experiment. I can't wait to introduce more of the red sides of things.
Let's do it.
And to do that, we need to go to our meat moves.
Working on a
meat moves. We're just going to take a second to handle a little bit of business. And the main point is, thanks for watching. If you want to see more of our comedic takes and offbeat decks, consider subscribing to our channel and hitting that bell to make sure you don't miss anything. And if you're loving our stuff and want to support further, the best way is to head over to patreon.com/commandersbrew. Find out how our generous patrons keep our show growing and how you can get in on the brewing action too through our Discord. Or, if you'd rather, just hang out and play some games with like-minded Commander players. Now, let's get back to those moves.
All right, let's take a look at some more of the red cards that are happening in this deck. Starting us,
some blue.
And still some blue. We're still going to get into that. But starting us off with this one is... oh, wait. What do I have? Oh, yeah.
Oh, because just to touch again, so Birgi's role is... Birgi seems to be the lieutenant here. Birgi does not seem to be the main commander. Mm-hmm. This is true. And Birgi will appear as the Horn most of the time because... I want to point out again, the Horn... this is not a once per turn thing. You just got to discard a card and you get to... exile the top 2 of your library and you can play one this turn. So this is a great way to go through lands you don't need anymore once we're cantripping and drawing more cards. This is a great way if you're like, I don't need another creature. I need a thing to target a thing. I'm happy to pitch 2 cards and get 4 looks at a spell that costs 1 that'll target a creature. I'm happy to do that with the Horn. So that's Birgi's main role here.
Right. And then you've got 2 really... great cards here that are going to work really well in this deck. Murmuring Mystic and Young Pyromancer, both similar abilities. The Mystic being the 3 and a blue 1/5 that whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you get a 1/1 blue flying illusion creature. And then, of course, the Young Pyromancer is the 1 and a red 2/1 that gives us a 1/1 elemental creature, a red one when you cast an instant or sorcery. These are just these are just classics, really.
Yeah, we're going to be casting plenty of spells, so we're going to be building up quite a little army of token creatures. Blue already had this. Red also does it, but like this is, so far we haven't broken anything. And I'm going to go into some more blue cards, actually, before we break out of this. This is a secret all-star of the deck. This is Hidden Strings. 1 and a blue for a sorcery. You may tap or untap target permanent. Then you may tap or untap another target permanent. And it has Cipher. So if you don't remember Cipher, we haven't talked about Cipher in ages.
Sure we
but
haven't.
Cipher's an old one where when you cast it, you encode it on a creature. Basically stick it under that creature. And whenever that creature deals combat damage, you cast a copy of this ciphered encoded card without paying its mana cost. So let me break it down. The first thing you do, you get to target 2 permanents. So this is a way for me to target one of my things and one of your things. So I get my copy and I can tap down one of your blockers. Or I can just... but this also deals with permanents, not just creatures. So this is how I can copy my mana rocks or my lands or special enchantments that we're going to talk about a little bit later. And the fact that it can get encoded is if I can get in with one of those little birds that Murmuring Mystic makes, I can copy something else for free every turn and just keep it going. That's excellent. And there are analogs to these in blue. There's Dream's Grip. That's a 1 blue instant. Choose one, tap or untap target permanent, and you can entwine it for 1 to choose both. You can also run Psychic Puppetry, which is a 1 and a blue, tap or untap target permanent, and it splices onto Arcane for a blue, but we don't have Arcane. So here's 3 cards that can copy anything on our battlefield. So here, Andy, you're going to read us 2 things that seem great to copy.
Yeah, right away, Gilded Lotus seems like a great option. The 5 mana artifact that taps for 3 mana of any one color. That's the great thing. I just had to check that Orvar actually, the targeting is of permanents, not just creatures. We will be making copies of these things if we choose to target or rather tap or untap them. We got Gilded Lotus here. We've also got Fiery Emancipation, 3 red for the enchantment. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, deals triple that damage to that permanent or player instead. Wow, yeah. Okay.
Can you imagine? I'm going to untap my Fiery Emancipation.
I had to
copy
double
it.
take
So now
this because I was like, wait. At first I thought it was a sorcery, and I was like, did I click the wrong thing? It's like, no, this is that crazy enchantment. Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
It triples your damage. So, this is a bit of a meme in the deck, but it just shows you some of the stuff that red can bring. It's like, is it a bit win more to, if you already land this card, you're doing good work.
Yeah.
But, why not just be like, oh, I'm going to double it? I'm going to copy this. So now it's 9 times damage, triple the triple. So,
I forgot this card existed, and it's crazy. This is just wild stuff here.
Yeah. Okay, now let's get into some good red stuff, right? I would love a copy of Charmbreaker Devils in this deck.
Ooh, yeah.
5 and a red for a 4/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, return an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard to your hand. After copying, I'm returning 2 at a time, 3 at a time, 4 at a time, and they all cost 1 and they draw me cards. And whenever I cast an instant or sorcery, Charmbreaker Devils gets +4/+0. It becomes an 8/4. But just the ability to start bringing a few cards back from my graveyard every turn is incredible. That's the kind of card I want to copy in Orvar for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny how that ability doesn't seem that good, but if you've ever played with Charmbreaker Devils or you've seen someone play with it, there are so many times where it's that's like drawing a card every turn, right?
Yeah,
It's a
card you've already used, which means it had value, it was useful.
And it is good, and the randomness doesn't even matter. Sometimes you'd prefer to get one of the other cards, but it's always something you're pretty happy to see happen. And copying to Charmbreaker Devils means you're getting multiple back. It's just it's really great.
Yeah,
really great stuff. Next we have Cavalier of Flame, 2 red. The Elemental Knight. It's a 6/5. Pay 1 and a red. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. And then when it enters the battlefield, you discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards. And then when it dies, it deals X damage to each opponent and each planeswalker they control, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard. So obviously just a great kind of wheel effect here, being able to pitch whatever it is that we don't need and then start to draw into better stuff. That haste ability is really underrated, I think, on Cavalier Flame. I remember in the fire breathing deck, this was an all-star, not just because of the fire breathing effect it has, but because of that haste it's just so good.
Right, and just to illustrate how valuable this card is, you're allowed to discard as many cards as you want and draw that many. So I'm going to discard everything that isn't a 1 mana target one of my things and draw a new hand. I'm going to cast those on Cavaliers of Flames and just keep cycling all my lands, all my other stuff I don't need right now, and get 2 or 3 more Cavaliers of Flames. And in the process of doing so, I've probably thrown 4, 5, or 6 lands into the graveyard. So now that I've got a few Cavaliers of Flame, if a Wrath shows up, all my opponents are taking 24 damage. This is just a little bit of that red flavor. I love it so much. And so I'm going to go back to a blue card just so people don't start thinking I don't know, that seems like red's giving it too much. May I remind you, oops, did I forget one? Oh yeah, right. I forgot also, Cavalier of Flame is extra useful if we decide to copy Fanatic of Mogus. which is the 3 in the red 4/2. When it enters, it deals damage to each opponent equal to your devotion to red. So the Cavalier adds 3 devotion. So like, but I'm fine. Just keep copying Fanatics over.
Fanatic also works quite well with Fiery Emancipation.
Sure.
I mean, one doesn't truly, but like the 3 mana pips there also could do some nice work.
Yes, and it'll be triple.
Yeah, exactly.
So before everyone gets too like, I don't know, seems broken, I don't think there's a good house rule, I want to bring us back to Peregrine Drake. 4 and a blue, 2/3 flying.
Nothing wrong with this card.
Peregrine Drake enters the battlefield, untap up to 5 lands, but we're spending 1 mana to copy it, and we're untapping 5 lands. Even without Birgi, like this gets us way more mana than Birgi ever can.
Yeah.
So like this is not even an issue that like Birgi herself is not contributing something broken to the deck.
Yeah, like you can have this effect in blue. I mean, you do have this effect in blue. Like, if this is the types of things you want to be doing consistently, like you can just do it. Like, we're not adding red so that we can do the same type of stuff. Like it's profiting mana off of this is just it can get out of control.
Yeah.
We have another red creature though. Tucktuk Scrapper. This is a good one. I love this card. It's an ally. It's 3 in a red. Goblin Artificer ally. It's a 2/2. Whenever it or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, you may destroy target artifact. If that artifact is put into a graveyard this way, Tucktuk Scrapper deals damage to that artifact's controller equal to the number of allies you control. Well, I mean, you know about allies. You know that the more we add, the greater they become essentially, and you start hitting crazy artifacts and dealing more and more damage each time. Like you could do a whole ally deck with Orvar, right? Like copying and adding those broken ally effects all together. Like Tucktuk Scrapper is just the tip of the iceberg here.
Well, and it took it took me a playtest to really understand it. So I made one Tucktuk Scrapper and I destroyed a mana rock and I felt good about it.
Yeah.
Then later on I was like, oh, there was one more artifact. I was like, ooh, there's a sword. Someone's got a sword of body and shadow or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna copy my Tucktuk Scrapper. And it's like targeting your sword. It's like, and then where's the other target going? I'm like, oh yeah, I have 2 Tucktuks. So I get to destroy 2 artifacts this time. And the next copy, you destroy 3 artifacts. That's 6 total off of 2 copies. So this becomes Vandal Blast very quickly.
Vandal Blast plus, right? You're dealing damage too, which is crazy.
Yes.
Really good.
Ooh, here's another fun red one that I cannot resist copying a bunch. This is great. Emberwild Captain, 3 in a red, Djinn Pirate, 4/2. When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. Great. Whenever an opponent attacks you while you're the monarch, Emberwild Captain deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand. So, if you put 2 or 3 Emberwild Captains on the board, your opponents simply can't attack you because they would have to pay 16 life just to do so.
Oh wow, yeah. This is a favorite card from Commander Legends. That's where this is from, right? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And this is a cool one. I remember this one from the set review, I'm pretty sure. Just does a lot of work. I mean, in multiples, obviously. This is cool stuff. And then this one you hinted at before, Precursor Golem. 5 mana for a 3/3 artifact creature golem. When it enters the battlefield, you put 2 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature tokens onto the battlefield. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single golem, that player copies that spell for each other golem that spell could target, and then each copy targets a different one of those golems. So, high ceiling, low floor, although, not super low. But in that, obviously, we target this with one of our things. We target one of the golems, and then all of a sudden, all those golems are getting copied, and the original Precursor Golem is also getting copied. So it's making 3 more on top of the other 3 that came out, and then, of course, that just keeps rolling the more you do it. But there's also the possibility of getting targeted with a kill spell.
And I must remind you, Orvar is a shapeshifter, so also a golem. So that when we're doing stuff,
it's dangerous. That's a dangerous game.
but giving them all haste and drawing a card is just like, oh, okay, I'll expedite all of these. That seems pretty good.
Yeah, I mean they gotta have it. You know, it's. I like the roll the dice. You know.
Yeah.
Attitude with this one. It's a card that I had this in my like Selesnya like populate deck at one point, and it was really good in there, and so I'd imagine that, you know, more often than not it's just going to be pretty strong.
Yeah,
especially if you can like do anything to, you know, counter that spell, then it doesn't even.
It's
actually
true.
Countering doesn't do it, does it?
No, because
they just target, so you'll still lose them all.
Yeah, I mean it's too fun. It's too
whatever.
Like, I mean, cut it if you want.
I think it's. No, I'm with you. I'm in on it. Like I think it's worth the the ceiling is too high on it to be like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think like, and big deal. Whatever. It's one card. You know what I mean? It's not like you're losing. You invested 5 mana and a card. And then you copied it a couple times. Like I say, go for it. I think it's good.
We're near the end of the neat moves. Not quite, but as we're coming to a close, I want to just put it back in your brain. Remember Andy's deck last week, Vega's deck, right? This deck is essentially an Orvar deck with red. We could re-envision last week's deck as a Orvar deck with white. And we've got new extra white creatures to bring with it. We've got a new suite of like instants to like copy things once Orvar's out. But it would be a totally different deck in the red part, but most of it, the core of it would be the same. Again, I'm a broken record, but I don't believe this is broken at all because Orvar themselves is not broken. So like this just makes it more of an improvement. And to close us out, I want to talk about some neat wins that this deck can do. And this is exclusively blue, right? Like this is just blue, so this could be just Orvar. So I'm talking Mirror Mad Phantasm. 3 blue, 5/1 Flying Spirit. And of course we want to copy this at some point, and then we're going to use this ability on the token copy. 1 and a blue, Mirror Mad Phantasm's owner shuffles it into his or her library. It's a token. If that player does, they reveal cards from the top of the library until a card named Mirror Mad Phantasm is revealed. It never will be because the token disappeared. The player puts that card onto the battlefield, there is no card, and all other cards revealed into their graveyard. So now my library is empty, so all I have to do is cast a Thassa's Oracle with my empty library, and I've won the game. That's all blue. That's pure blue. Who cares that the red's in there? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Red is not gonna let you draw more cards to find this.
That's true.
Like blue's drawn enough to do it anyway.
If this is your aim, red is certainly not really helping.
Yeah, no. And so Andy, why don't you take this other blue kind of dirty line that the deck has?
You use this card a lot.
I love it.
Time Stream Navigator. 1 and a blue for the human pirate wizard. It's a 1/1 with Ascend. That's of course the whole City's Blessing thing, and you'll see what that is in a sec. It's 2 blue, tap, put Time Stream Navigator on the bottom of its owner's library, take an extra turn after this one, and then you activate this ability only if you have the City's Blessing. So yeah, we need like 10 permanents out there. Obviously in Commander that's not a big deal. So this is just, pay 4, tap it, bottom of its owner's library, take an extra turn. Of course, make a couple copies of this, and all of a sudden things look pretty good. If you don't need to take infinite turns in a row. Like you really only need to take a couple, right? Like with this card.
True. Well, and then I found myself in a situation where I had ciphered hidden strings on a creature, and someone was tapped out, and that creature, just a little 1/1, was able to get in. So that means I can take infinite turns because I will always hit that person for 1. Mm-hmm. I will use that trigger to copy Time Stream Navigator, and I will use the original Time Stream Navigator's ability to put it on the bottom, so the copy will cease to have Summoning Sickness next turn when I make another Time Stream Navigator. And because Hidden Strings is ciphered, unless someone destroys that creature in the meantime, I can do that until that creature can no longer get in, and hopefully by then I've drawn enough cards to keep this combo going, right? Here's where Birgi does help, right? It helps me pitch cards to find it better. I suppose that's where red does help you dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
But I mean, again,
I mean, you're in blue though. It's like, you know, the card draw thing is not reaching into red for card draws. Like, you don't need to do that either.
No. That's going to close the deck, and we got into some nice discussion in the Discord while we were bringing about, like, is this too powerful in general of an idea? And I still say no. I say no. There are plenty of 2 and 3 color commanders that are already as broken or more broken than this. Mm-hmm. Could we come up with a combo that is truly broken? Probably.
We did. When we do, there were tons of it. Like, I tweeted this out on Twitter. I was like, "Hey, what are the most fun options for this house rule thing?" And you know, most people came back with super fun ideas and like wacky combos. And then, of course, there were some people who were like, just wrote the craziest broken combos as well. And there's quite a few of them. But I was surprised that there was only, you know, not that many people responded that way. I mean, maybe it was just the way I worded the question, but. It seemed like people were just into this for the you know, just for this new thing we can do. Like, think about it. Like, we're so excited when we get new partner commanders. There's no difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to thank some of the Discord helpers for some of these crazy ideas. I want to thank Chiefy, Knucklebooper, Papadio, T-Coats, Highbrow Lou Brew. Thank you. Brave Sir Robin, The Wizard, Cops, Seth, Beppo, Demir, Buffalo, Pips Don't Lie, Nosrak 2. If I forgot you, I'm truly sorry. The wall of helpers goes by so fast and furiously, but I'll get you next time. Super fun. I think, you know, this could be a fun exercise to do every set that comes out. Like, take 2 monos that were made in that set and just see what happens. If we restrict it to that, it's certainly only fair.
Yeah. And I do think that, like, this is probably something you at least want to start out doing with people you know. I mean, and that's true for any Rule Zero thing. Like, I would only really feel comfortable taking it to our home meta here, or like any really good friends, just because like they know me, they know what I'm doing. I don't need to like overly explain myself this way, right? But then eventually branching out and just being like, oh, you know, if you're playing on Spell Table with strangers, you know, they might not know you, so to be like, hey, is it cool if I play my like Birgi Orvar deck? You know, they might be like, yeah, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, there might be a bit of that hesitation there. Because, you know, some people are out to just play super powerful stuff. I think if you start that way, you're going to find it's going to be a lot of fun, and then I think it's easier to branch out from there and then bring it to new people and tell them the stories that you had with the game, you know.
And I truly believe that if you're taking this house rule to heart and doing it for creative new ways to show off commanders that have been a little bit restricted in one color, and be like, this commander can do so much cool, fun stuff if we had a color. If you bring that deck to people and show them, they might be like, oh, I got a couple mono commanders I want to do this too. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're up to. You didn't do this to break it. You did this to have more fun.
Yes.
I'm on board with that.
That's the key thing. And I think that if you're listening to this or watching this right now, and you want to do this, and you do want to bring it to, like, you know, you're in a Discord, whether it's like ours, our Commander Brew, maybe you're over in the CCO Discord, any of the many different shows that are out there, and you want to bring it to those players, I honestly think if you're like, hey, this is an idea that the Commander's Brew guys had, I honestly think saying that people will be like, oh, okay, no problem. Because they, you know, people know what we're about. We're about budget decks, we're about having fun, you know, brewing, you know, silly decks, stuff like that. I honestly think that's kind of, rather than going in depth and explaining that it's not about infinite combos, blah, 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 blah. Here's the aim of the deck. Blah, blah. Instead of doing that, like, you can just kind of say that it's just like, it's super casual. It's a Sean and Andy idea. If they know us at all, they probably will be like, oh, okay, let's see.
Yeah.
That's not even like to toot our own horn at all. That's just that's just what we're about.
Our Harfnell Horn of Bounty.
Yeah, we're not tooting our own Harfnell horn. It's just stating facts. It's just definitive,
Yes. Oh boy. So fun. Shall we do the budget report?
We shall. All right, what's this one looking like budget wise? Interesting always.
Good price.
With these like, when we do these like kind of technically not legal decks, to see where they come in price wise.
Very reasonable. The mid is 109 and the low is 65, and the top two cards we've already talked about, Time Stream Navigator's up to $10.
Wow.
That's kind of a dirty line of play anyway, so I'm fine cutting that. And Thassa's Oracle is also $8, $8.50. So you cut those two, you're easily under $50. Add a regular creature that has an ETB ability, you're golden.
Yeah. Even to play like Lab Maniac's got to be cheaper than this too, right? Like,
probably.
Obviously not as good, but like it's still a real option.
Yeah, there's
if you're looking
millions.
to do that.
There's millions of ads. Like, I ended up cutting it, but like, what's wrong with Crackling Drake, right? The one that gets bigger for instants and sorceries in your graveyard, and it draws you a card as well. Like, that's fun.
That's fun.
Tons of options.
Speaking of tons of options, if we had unlimited money as well as the unlimited mana you might be able to make with this deck if you have 6 cards that go together. I mean, do we even need to say Dockside Extortionist at this point? Like, this is just a wild card. Obviously, works incredibly well in this deck, and that's something that we're copying and making, tons of versions of this little guy. Just incredible amounts of mana being made here. $50. I saw this deck at Walmart on sale in Canada for $39.99.
Whoa.
So, but
Did you buy it?
No, I didn't buy it because I was like, do I want to spend $40 to get a Dockside Extortionist? No. Or conversely, do I want to sell a Dockside Extortionist for probably something like, I don't know, Canadian is probably like $60 or something like that? Do I want to like make $20? Do I have to go and then have all the other cards in the set, keep all those? I was like, this is a hassle to make $20. I'm fine. I'm not quite there yet. It's not like there was like 100 of them there and I could have made a whole bunch of money. It's like, do I really want to go through this for $20? Like, I can't even go into the store and do it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, the lockdown's on. It's like, maybe if things were different. Anyways, but check those big box stores, because apparently there's these Commander decks are kicking around, and that should help the price. If you're looking for one of these. Anyways, there's another one though too, right?
Oh yeah, Mirror Gallery. This is the 5-mana artifact that says the legend rule doesn't apply. It would be great to copy Birgi a few times, or to copy Orvar without Spark Double a bunch of times. I mean, Orvar won't copy himself with the ability. So you have to get the first copy of Orvar with like a quasiduplicate, for example. It does open up more options, but at $28, we don't need it.
Very expensive. I remember I was at GP Toronto. I managed to use some of like those points that you can get from like doing well in a draft, and I cashed it in to get a Mirror Gallery. And I've never.
It wasn't $30 then.
No, it wasn't. It was closer to like 10 or 12 or something. Yeah. Still, I don't believe I've ever cast this card.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's in a deck. Anyways, okay. Well, this was a wonderful deck. Wonderful take on this. I think this house rule is a. I think it's great. I think it's got a lot of legs. I think.
So many legs.
I don't know. I can't say enough about it. I think it's a really neat thing. And I don't think it takes away from partner at all. By the way, I just want to add that like. The partner commanders that we have, I don't think they lose any specialness necessarily. I think there's a couple that I think already aren't that great, like that we're not really using. So there's kind of that already, but you're still going to look to use some of those commanders in these things too. Anyways, we're running late. We got to get over to the award show. We got to get over to the Audrix. So
yeah.
If you guys don't mind, we're just gonna take off and get over there right away. Thank you very much. Yes, we are here. Wonderful to be here. Look at everyone. Everyone's looking absolutely just fancy tonight here at the Audrix. It's so great to see you. There is Ral Zarek. How are you doing there, Ral? Good to see you. The hair is high. It's a Quicksilver Wolverine combo. I love it. Looking great.
And what a treat to see Linda Cardellini. Welcome to the Audrix. Great to see you. Great to have you.
Yeah, we got some real MCU crossover potential here with Ral Zarek's hair and, of course, Hawkeye's wife from the Avengers films. Great stuff. Sean, what are we here to give away today?
Every year we celebrate excellence in the field of magic cards, and this week is no different. And this award for Best Performance as a Street Rogue goes to Julianne Moore as the Rishadan Cut Purse. 2 and a blue, 1/1 pirate. When Rishadan Cut Purse comes into play, each opponent sacrifices a permanent unless they pay 1. Excellent if you copy this card a bunch of times. People be sacking things. But Julianne Moore as the Cut Purse. What an excellent performance. One of my all-time faves.
She was great in The Big Lebowski, Boogie Nights, perhaps you've seen her in. But the role of her lifetime on this Magic card as Rishadan Cut Purse. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. That'll do it for this episode of Commander's Brew and this installment of the Audrix Awards. We will see you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCG Player affiliate link below.
That helps us out too, and for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.